Welcome to Think About It, a program where we discuss important issues affecting our society. My name is Rick, and today I have with me Edris. We are continuing a series of From Singleness to Maybe I Do. So Edris, today, what stages of From Singleness to Maybe I Do are we talking about?
So today we are at, by the way, hello everyone. Today we are at step number 5 from what we talked about. Last time we talked about step number 3 and number 4, which is who should I marry? And, I have to seek counsel to know who should I marry, right? And we talked about a few things, but we got everything down packed. Now that all the questions have been answered now, today we're going to be talking about the actual courtship.
All right. So now, you talk to the parents giving you the green light, and you're going to talk to the young lady, right? So one thing I want to know, like during that time, does the young lady know that you are interested in her?
So to a certain extent, she may know based on her parents, right? But the whole idea, the whole concept of it is, right? We talked about not breaking God's command, right? The whole purpose of addressing the parents first is to not break the commandment that says thou shalt not steal, which is the 7th commandment, right? So you go and talk to the parents, right? You go through the vetting process. The parents talk to your God-fearing parents as well. They know, okay, this is a good young man. He's ready for marriage. God has called him to marriage. Everything is set. Now, is he the right person for my daughter? Okay, he may be the right person for my daughter. We're not completely sure, but we're gonna allow them to now begin that process of courtship, right?
Okay.
So her parents now give the go for the young man to now go and start a courtship.
Okay. So with that said, so let's say, how does it happen? You wait for the young lady. Let's say you go to church. So are you waiting for a day to go to church and see the young lady? Or
well, what happened is her parents will let her know that, hey, this young man, is interested and wants to begin a courtship with you.
Okay.
So once the parents let her know, she's already aware, and now it's the job of the man to seek. So it's the man who does the approach, and it's the job of the young lady to accept.
Wait, does the parents kind of set up the meeting, or you just have to boldly go and set it up yourself? How does that go?
Well, usually it's the parents could set up the meeting. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The parents could set up the meeting for the young man to come and meet the young lady.
Okay.
And then the parents will be like, okay, this is so and so that we were talking about that wants to begin a courtship. I give permission for you guys to go ahead and do that. Even though the parents have given permission for the young man to go now and proceed and start a courtship with the young lady, she still has the option to whether to accept, to move forward, or to reject.
Oh, okay. Because like I said, the reason I mentioned that, man, in the world back in the days, if you see a young lady, you could be anywhere at school or whatever, and you go somebody probably go and talk to her and say, hey, can I talk to you? And she look around, and she look back at you, she's like, hey, no, you ugly. I don't want to talk to you. How dare you come and talk to me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, is there a possibility that may happen? You know what I'm saying? Let's say you talk to the parents. The young lady come to church, and on Sabbath, you after church is over, you approach the young lady, say, "Hey, my sister, I talked to your parents."
Yeah.
And she look at you, she like, "My brother, don't you see how you look?"
No, it's not the case, right? We got to be practical about things when we talk about these things, right? So through the whole vetting process, right? When the young men, right, when you go to the God-fearing parents first, the God-fearing parents' their job is to see, okay, number 1, is God calling you to marriage? Number 2, are you ready for marriage? Number 3, will your character match my daughter's?
And number 4, do you send a picture just in case?
Well, you go in person.
Oh, okay.
You go in person. So again, and then it all goes into that parent has a relationship with their daughter, right? They know what their daughter is like, what the daughter's looking for, what would be good, what would be best for their daughter. So the whole judgment is happening based on character, right? But also the parents see you now. They know, okay, they know whether or not their daughter will be attracted to you, because again, they have a relationship with their daughter. They know what the daughter likes. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So at that point, I think we can say to a certain extent that you have already bypassed the attraction point. But still, it can happen that, again, by all means, a young lady, don't just agree to start a courtship with somebody you're not attracted to just because your parents say they already got past your parents. No. To a certain level, to a certain degree, you have to be attracted to the person.
Yeah, what I was saying by the picture, not for the parents, because
for the daughter.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you're talking to the parents. They may like you, but at least you say, hey, look, here's a picture of mine. Show your daughter, just in case I don't want to have to go, when I have to go talk to her.
You don't have to do all that.
You don't have to do all that?
You don't have to do all that.
Okay, I just want to make sure, man. Because rejection ain't no joke, right?
No, rejection ain't no joke. But you don't have to do all that. Remember, all of these things are being done prayerfully. So if God is leading towards that direction, surely he'll make a way.
Okay, another question I had before we really get into the courtship. In America right now, we're living in the times of equality, right? Everybody's talking about equality or whatever. If a man can do something, a woman can do it too. Like, that's the concept now, right? And a lot of young men nowadays are like really tired of rejection, etc., etc., etc. So, and they don't even want to go pursue after the women. They want women to pursue after them, right? So, in the term of courtship, is it an issue that if a woman is the one that goes through all these steps, like go talk to the parent of a young man or whatever, like, how does that go? Because
this the thing you got to understand, right? With all of that, right? We want to make sure we stay as close to the biblical principle as possible, because the best way to get the best result is to do things God's way, right? God's way is that the man seek and the woman accept.
Okay.
That's why you see today, this day and age, we have all this craziness. Like I saw a video, not too long ago recently, where a woman proposed to her man. She got on her knees and proposed, and everybody who was there was clapping, like, and I'm sitting there like, okay, this is a complete 360 on what the norm should be. It's the man who seeks, and it's the job of the woman to accept. So when you do that, you're going contrary to how God's want things to be.
Okay.
And we can go back as far as when we go look at the Bible, like look at the story of Adam and Eve, right? It wasn't Eve who goes to Adam. It was God who says, God being the God-fearing parents, the father, right? Who says, you know what? This would be a good match. And he put Adam to sleep, and then he created Eve. And then he brought Eve to Adam. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the same concept. So it's God who the parent, God who plays the role as the parent, and then Eve, Eve has to accept. Now.
As you're saying that, there's something that just came to mind. So I'm thinking, after you finish talking to the parents should be the one that bring you that young lady.
Yeah, most likely it's the parents that does the introduction. Okay, let me introduce you to my daughter.
That sounds much easier, man. That sounds much easier. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to go out there and try to set up your own meeting, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's a good
because it's also allowed with biblical principle. You're not going behind the parents' back to try to win someone's affection. Yeah, it's the parents who introduce you. Now that they have introduced you, now then you can have a conversation. They leave you to have a conversation. Okay.
So now, you finally meet that young lady, and she sees you. You know what I'm saying? She like, oh man, I'm blessed. And today is your blessed day. She sees you. You know what I'm saying? She like, why did you take you so long for this day to come? I've been waiting for you for so long. You know what I'm saying? It's easy for you, so you're not, man. Now, she said yes to the courtship.
Okay.
Now you're ready for the courtship. What's the next step?
So the next step. So first we must understand what courtship is, right? Courtship, in a sense, is a friendship. It's a sincere and earnest effort of two, a man and a woman, that are seeking to find out if it's God's will for them to unite their interests in marriage, right? Yeah. So it's a friendship, but with an end goal intention. The intention is the end goal is marriage. Yeah. So now,
if it's according to God's
will.
If
it's according to God's will, which we're gonna address also, that will a courtship always end up in marriage? We'll talk about that in a little bit, but to address your question, right? So now what's the next step? The next step is ultimately you meet, and now you have that conversation. Okay, you know what? The man is expressing this is what his intention is. My intention is to begin a courtship with you, to see if it's God's will for us to unite our interests in marriage. Okay. Now she may answer him right away and be like, okay, let's go ahead and start the courtship. Let's do it. Or she may be like, okay, I may need some time to pray about it and see if God is calling me to the same thing. And that also is fine, you know. And I want the young lady to know, you don't have to rush and give a positive or an affirmative answer right away as soon as the man approach you.
Even if you like him.
Even if you like him, you can still take your time to go and pray and for confirmation that you should start this courtship. Now, once you got your confirmation that you should begin that courtship, then you start the courtship.
Okay.
So the courtship is you getting to know one another.
Yeah.
Now, there's two things that are happening in the courtship, right? You're getting to know one another, but you are also being wooed by the person.
That one is important.
Very important, because what people think courtship, people sometimes think courtship is you're just getting to know the person, but while you're getting to know the person, you're not stepping into that love with that person. Notice I didn't use the word fall into.
So you're telling me like being in a courtship is not a prophecy seminar?
No, it's not a prophecy seminar. We're not just meeting just to discuss prophecy, Okay. No. We're discussing day-to-day life things. And as you're getting to know that person, you also check in your boxes of what you're looking for to see if that person, check all the boxes, all the things that you may be looking for in a prospective partner.
So how would you define wooing though? Like how would you define that?
Define wooing is as you get to know the person, you finding out that, man, I'm liking this person. I'm liking what I'm finding out. Oh man, all these things are aligned with my principles and what I'm looking for. So you also being drawn towards that person as well.
Okay.
Because you're getting to know and you're liking what you're getting to know. So you're getting closer and closer as you get to know each other more.
Okay. So as part of wooing, like, would you say like buying the person flowers is part of it or no?
Buying the person flower, I mean, it's a nice gesture. You can.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that you can do, in the whole courtship process. As long as you could do a lot of things, as long as you're not breaking any commands, which we're gonna go over a few things that we shouldn't do and some things that we can do.
All right.
And again, so since we're talking about getting to know the person, there's a couple of questions that you need to get to know, to ask from the get-go, to start kind of having an idea of what the person is like. First question you got to ask yourself, right? Will this new relationship prove to be a source of true happiness?
Okay, that's very important.
Very important, because I'm not saying that, notice I didn't say, will that person make me happy? Because the true ultimate happiness is found in God.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that is clear. But what you're asking is, will this relationship hinder my happiness, or will it help improve my happiness? That's what you're asking.
This is deep, man. This is deep. Yeah.
No, that's what you're ultimately asking, right? And then as you get to know the person, that question is also being answered. That yes, okay, this relationship will prove to be a source of happiness for me. Another question that you can also ask is, will it be a help to me in the Christian life? So which is also meaning that, will that person help me move forward ministry-wise, or will that person hinder me ministry-wise? Or another way that we can word it is, will that person affect my influence when it comes to God's word or God's work, or will that person help me have more influence in terms of doing the God's work? So
the first question, right? Will this relationship enhance my happiness, will bring to more happiness? What is a practical question, that one may ask, or what is a practical thing that one may look for in determining that response?
How we going about the courtship? So is it pleasing to God? Are we breaking God's command?
Okay.
That's number one. If you're courting someone and you find yourself breaking the commandments of God, then you know that this is not going to lead to a source of happiness.
Okay.
Because anywhere where God's law is being broken is eventually going to result in unhappiness.
But let's say the laws of God are not being broken. Let's say you're with this guy who is super religious, or this young lady that's super religious or whatever. So now what are some other things to look for? Because just because the person could be super religious doesn't mean that you're gonna have happiness, in the relationship. So what are some things? What are some questions if somebody's courting right now to look for? So
we did a video before where we talked about the 6 C's.
Yes. Check it out. You
can always go back to refer to the 6 C's, right? So you wanna go back and look at some of the stuff that we talked about in the 6 C's, right? You want to look at that person's character.
Yeah.
Is that person loving? Is that person caring? Number one, is God at the center of that person's life?
Okay.
Do we have good communication? Can we discuss things and not get angry or or get too emotionally and start spiraling out of control.
Okay.
Can we talk about even the difficult stuff? Can we have fun together?
Okay. Okay.
Is that person my friend? Can we do me and that person have a real friendship, what we call by chemistry, friendship?
Do they allow me to be myself?
Do they allow me to be myself? Am I able to be myself? So again, right, in the whole courtship, right, the courtship is not putting up a front to appear Christ-like, or to appear to be a good person or fit for marriage. No.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of the courtship is me showing up as myself, my authentic self, so that person can get to know my real self. Because once you get married, you're dealing with the person's true self, not the front that they put up.
Yeah.
And it's encouraged for people to be themselves in a courtship.
Okay. So let's say now. So now we get to this thing. So we passed that. Like like you said, the young lady, she prayed and she said, you know what? Okay, this is God's. She think, okay, this is what God wants for me at the moment or whatever. So now the courtship is full on.
Yep.
Right. So now the do's and don'ts.
The do's and don'ts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the do's and don'ts. Let's start with the don'ts.
Okay. The negative first. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely don't fall into fornication.
That's a no-no.
That's a no-no. Sex before marriage is a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're courting someone and they're leading you down that path, you need to break it off right away. By all means, break it off.
Right away.
Because once you, and again, I'm saying this, it sounds a little harsh, but not really. Because think about it. Once the person leads you to break one command, they're going to lead you to break more commands. And before you know it, you are in complete opposition to God. And that's what you want to avoid. Remember the question we asked before, right? Will this courtship be pleasing to God?
Yeah.
And we have to always look. In that question, and that's one of the most important questions you got to ask yourself. Throughout the whole courtship, you have to always fall back into that question. Are the things that we are doing, are they pleasing to God within that courtship? When we talk about no fornication, that's pleasing to God, because God says God is against sex before marriage. God is pleasing to God.
Yeah, and one thing, as you mentioned, that what sex before marriage does, it blinds you. Not only it has other spiritual ramification that's like separating you from God or whatever, but it blinds you to see the person for who they truly are, and to address some of these issues that you want to know before you get into marriage.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So now, like, you get into this a sex before marriage, you feel like you are one with this person already when it is not true.
It's not true. You're not.
And you overlook a lot of their mistakes and flaws a lot of times. And then now when you get married, that's when you're finding out, like, wait a minute, who's this person?
Yeah.
Because you weren't there, like, blinded, like you were blinded by sin.
True.
Yeah.
That's why. And again, and we're not saying this because sex is not a good thing. Because sometimes people make sex look like no. Sex is a beautiful thing. In fact, God created that for a married man with his wife.
Yeah.
To enjoy that.
Yeah.
Right. And the urges you feel, right, towards that is also not a bad thing. It's a natural thing. It's a normal thing. And you can't be mad at that. It's God who gives you these urges, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But in all things, God wants us to have self-control.
Yes.
God wants us to be able to control ourselves, right? Which is why God says, okay, you can have sex, but only within a marriage.
Yeah.
Right? That's where it's allowed for you to enjoy each other. So once you have, it's because God knows what involves in sex, right? Once you have sex with someone, there's a lot of other things that's happening that we don't know, right? Spiritually. It's like now you and that person have become one, right? There's chemicals that your body releases, right? That makes you now, once you sleep with someone, you find yourself like the person is drawn to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you bypassing logic.
Yeah.
You bypassing red flags.
Yeah.
Because you into that phase of, oh my God, he's so beautiful. Oh my God, she's so beautiful. Because now you've already connected on an intimate level. It blinds you to the things that you need to be paying attention for and look for as you're going through the courtship process. That's why it's a courtship, not dating.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the first don't, fornication. What else?
Yes.
What else we got?
Anything that may lead to you eventually have fornication. For example, right? When I say this, people go, "Oh, I don't think you should even be kissing." Let me rephrase that.
I agree
You
with that.
should not be kissing.
Yeah.
Because kissing leads to heavy petting, which eventually leads to full-on breaking God's command.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't pay attention to this, right? When you go to a wedding, right? At some point during the wedding, the minister will says, "You may now kiss the bride."
The bride, yeah.
This is supposed to be the first kiss
Yeah.
between you and that person. But we live in a society where, we're in the 21st century, where things have gotten so bad to now where it's such a common practice that people just kiss whoever left and right and kiss all the time, that when you go to a marriage, they do it, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be when you and that person have your first kiss.
Imagine how enjoyable it would be. That's the first kiss, like
Yes.
first everything. Man, if we follow like these processes, man, like relationships would be way more beautiful, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
because a lot of times some people come into a marriage, they may feel worthless because they've been like, everything else is like, there's nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, I've already
You already
experienced
experience everything
Yeah,
before you start the marriage.
Yeah, so they're not even as excited as as they would have been if it was the first person for every single thing.
Exactly.
So no kissing.
No kissing.
You hear that, guys? No kissing. All right.
And then again, like so people may ask, we give one reason, right? So you don't go to fall into fornication. But remember, throughout your whole life, right, as a Christian, right, a follower of Christ, we are to share the words to the world.
Yeah.
So our action means a lot. Maybe there's another young man, young woman who's watching your action, who's seeing how you're going about how you do things. Now, because they say, okay, this man is a man of God, and they see you do that, they're like, oh, well, I could do that too.
Yeah.
When in reality, they do it, it's going to lead them to fall into more. You may have some self-control in a sense, but you may be like, okay, I could kiss and not, go down to fornication. Yeah. Highly unlikely.
Just stop. Just stop. Okay?
Just don't. If you want to do things God's way, completely God's way, it's better that you leave all these things to when everything have been answered and you have gotten into the marriage. Now you can fully let yourself go and enjoy your partner.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned before, you know how beautiful that is? The very first time, that you both are getting to know these things for the first time. It's like you're creating a lot of beautiful memory as you go on, because it's the first for both of you.
Yeah.
And you enjoy and you letting yourself go with that person because this is your wife and this is your husband.
And one of the main part, without guilt.
Without any guilt.
Because like this is approved by the Lord.
By the Lord.
It's just beautiful, man.
No, it is. It is. And again, right? So we mentioned those two, right? Don't have fornicate, don't involve in kissing. Now we may take it even a step further, right? When we talk about that line of things, right? Even holding hands.
Hey, some people gonna stone you, bro. Like,
okay.
Look, this is coming.
I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying you should not hold hands. I want you to understand what I'm saying is, right? If you know that by holding that person's hands, right, it's gonna lead you to want to do more.
This is locking eyes.
Yeah, now you're locking eyes. Before you know, you start kissing, and then and downward and further on.
Yeah.
If you know that you cannot control yourself, I recommend that you shouldn't even hold hands.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds extreme. It sounds extreme, but it really is not. The truth is the truth. So people may ask. So then,
I mean, can they hold hands just like this? And then
no, you can hold hands if you know, right? That's the discuss between the two of you. If you know that by doing that, it's not gonna lead anywhere else. We good? Yeah.
Okay.
Then by all means, you can hold hands. That's fine. But if you know it's gonna lead to, a path downward, it's best to prevent that because
prevention is always better than cure, right?
Yeah, prevention is always better than cure. God is not in the business of curing. God is in the business of preventing.
Yeah. He can cure now.
Yeah, he can.
But you don't want to put yourself in that situation where it's like you're like, man, I wish I never.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's best to, like Edris said, you know what I'm saying? If you can even avoid holding hands, You know what I'm saying? That's what you may have to do.
Yeah, which leads us to our next things, right? Meeting in the late hours of the night.
That's not good. It can't be good.
That can't be good. Because you know what happens in the late hours of the night, right?
Nothing good.
Nothing good. Nothing good happens in late hours of the night. You don't, and plus think about it, right? If you are a young man who follow biblical principles, right? You know there's a certain time you have to be asleep.
Yeah.
So if you're meeting in all kinds of hours of the night, or even staying up on all kinds of hours of the night to talk on the phone, that's also not recommended.
The voice change. That's
the voice change. Next thing you know, you're discussing completely reckless stuff that leads yourself to more downward things.
Yeah.
And again, we're saying this. It's not to say, you may say, "Oh, where's the fun in all of this? We're taking the fun out of." No, you know the joy that you get in courtship. You know, it's the presence of God, right? That brings the fullness of joy. Any enjoyment outside of the presence of God,
it's going to lead to misery.
It's not real enjoyment.
Yeah, it's going to lead to misery.
It's the presence of God that brings fullness of joy. So you want to be at all points in your courtship, at every step, right? You're approaching your courtship that God can be involved. God can be there with you.
Yeah.
Anywhere, anytime for any reason you find that you're doing something that God cannot be there present with you, then you shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. And again, as you avoiding these things and you going through with the process, right? There's certain things that you want to evaluate, right? I have this quotation here that I want to read. It's from Adventist Home, right? Page 45, paragraph 1. It says to weight every sentiment, right? And watch every development of character in the one with whom you think to link your life destiny. It says the step you are about to take is one of the most important in your life and should not be taken hastily. While you may love, do not love blindly.
I love this, man. I love this because I know you're going to break it down, but this is saying that you have to be watchful.
You have to be watchful, yeah.
You know, and even like, when you read the term watchful, you look at Jesus saying like, watch. It's like you a soldier watching for every movement, right?
You watch, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And she's saying like, watch every development of character. That means you have to pay real attention to that person you are dealing with because you are making a decision that can impact your life, and you shouldn't be rushing that process.
Yeah.
You gotta basically, every step of the way, you have to be present. You have to be focused. You know what I'm saying? Because a marriage can make or break you.
Oh yeah.
Marriage can make or break you.
Yeah. It will either make you or break you. Yeah.
And I like the last part too. She said, while you may love, do not love blindly.
That's the wooing aspect we're talking about.
Yeah.
It will happen though. And I mean, at the end of the courtship, to the point where you get to the engagement, you love that person, right? But your emotions are in check. Because naturally, if you're getting to know someone dearly, they're your friend, you gotten close to them, and you've seen all good things and they align with your principle, you're gonna love that person.
Yeah. Really
truly love that person. And then by the time you get to the end of the courtship to get into that next phase, which is the engagement, you love that person. You're in love. You're not expressing it, right? But you love that person.
What do you mean you're not expressing it?
All the expressions of love are to be referred to when all the answers have been answered, all the questions have been answered, and you are in a marriage relationship.
Now I want you to break down like a little bit more to me, because even like now it sounds like big. What do you mean by all the expression? We're not talking about sexual expression here of love.
Expression of love, like you are my one and only.
Okay.
Can you imagine saying that to someone you're courting and then the courtship does not end up in marriage?
That's devastating.
And again, words have big impact, right? And sometimes we don't think how we only think of when we cross that physical boundaries that we have affected someone dearly. No, that's not true. Because words of expression of love that you say to someone, and God forbid it doesn't end up in marriage, now you have hurt that person, right? Because you said something to them. Obviously, that's not true because it didn't end up in marriage.
Yeah. Okay.
Now the next person that they're gonna deal with when that person says that to them,
they don't trust it.
Nah, because I've heard that before and it didn't work out. And sometimes that's why it's best to hold all that form of expression to when all the questions have been answered and you are already in the marriage.
So how do you woo without expressing love?
Your character, who you are.
Okay.
What you're getting to know about the person. You know, hey, that person is a good person. How the person treat others. They check in all the box. Now, again, when I say don't express love, you are still expressing some types of. You can express things that you like about the person.
Okay.
Like let's say this person always shows up on time. You know, I love it when you show up on time.
Okay.
Things of that nature, just to give as an example, right? Things of that nature. I like when you do this. I enjoy it when you do this.
Okay.
You can say things like that.
Oh, that describe their character.
Their character.
Their attributes you like.
Exactly.
Okay. But
when I say expression of love, I'm talking about when you telling that person like deep emotions, so that person like, man, I love you so much. I can't see my life without you.
Ooh.
Really? Imagine saying that in a courtship.
Mm-hmm.
And the courtship does not end up in marriage.
Nah, I see my life without you.
Now my life has to be without you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't want to be misleading in a courtship. You want to be authentic, but you also want to hold some kind of reserve in a sense. It's not that you're not feeling a certain way, but you just want to make sure that everything is lined up first before this type of expression.
Yeah, man, this courtship thing is looking big. We may have to do a part 2. I don't know, but it's looking big. It's really deep.
So another door, right?
Yeah.
Do not court multiple people at the same time.
How would you do that as a Christian?
Listen, man. In the dating world, people date multiple people at the same time.
I mean, that's in the world, you know what I'm saying?
In the dating world, yes. But in the courtship is between one man, one woman. It's one courtship at a time.
Mm-hmm.
If a courtship does not lead to marriage, that courtship needs to be ended before starting another courtship. Because as a young man who says you love God, right? As a young woman who says you love God, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to do anything that can lead others away from God, and also show that a lack of respect for the things of God. God is all about monogamy. You
know what's funny though? Because in the world, like, okay, multiple dating, when you're dating, you're only dealing with the person.
Yeah.
In courtship, you're dealing with the parents. That means if you were to have multiple courtship at once, you become like in a way more wicked than somebody who's doing that in the world, because you are implicating parents. So basically, if the person has like 2 parents, you are playing. We're looking at 6 people.
Yeah.
If you have 2 courtship at the same time, you're playing 6 people. You know what I'm saying? You're doing legendary stuff.
Yeah.
So you could see that's like the level of wickedness would be way higher. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's a don't court more than one person. Cut it off. If it's over, cut it off completely, and then before you move on to something else.
And then the next one, we kind of mentioned it before, right? Don't tell lies. Right? You want to be truthful. You want to be your authentic self. We kind of mentioned it in passing, but I just wanted to be more stick, right? Mm-hmm. Don't tell lies. Mm-hmm. You want to be yourself. Mm-hmm. Be your authentic self. Don't oversell yourself about what you're not.
Yeah.
Because they're going to find out the truth.
Yeah.
So you want to be truthful. You want to be as truthful as possible. Obviously, you don't want to, negatively project yourself, but you want to be truthful. If there's something that you're lacking, be truthful about it. It's, it's being authentic.
Let them accept you with the flaws that you have. Like
for
present
who you are.
Present it before them and let them make that decision.
Yeah, let them accept it for who you are.
Yeah.
And then there's other. I mean, there's so much don't, like just to name a few. Don't tell lies. Don't court more than one person. Don't get involved into sexual act like fornication. Don't kiss if you know the kissing is gonna lead to. Don't hold hands.
Hold hands.
So we're giving all the don'ts. So then now, what can you do?
Okay, let's hear about that.
You can do a lot of things together. I encourage do activities together.
Yeah.
You can go out to eat. Obviously, have a chaperone.
Yeah. Don't do it by yourself now, because
there's so much stuff that you can do. You can go kayaking. Kayaking when you're on a boat, on the water, and it's peaceful, it's quiet as you row in the boat. And in fact, I encourage going kayaking. You know why? Because in kayaking, it involves both people working together to row the boat.
That's a team.
So it encourages teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
And also you have time to actually have conversation and talk
Yeah. Yeah.
and work together. And you can see,
And
whether-
if you fall in the water, you won't see the reaction of who's going to try to help you and not, or if they're going to try to save
Exactly.
themselves or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
all of that too,
kayaking
yeah.
is beautiful.
No, of course.
Yeah.
And even in the process of rowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain way that we have to row. Someone has to take the lead. For young ladies, it allows you to see the type of leadership skills that your man has as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the man, it also allows you to see how the woman is going to follow your lead.
Yeah.
Because if we have to go straight, we have to row a certain way. We have to row together. If we have to turn, we have to row. And all these things, right? You have to communicate. It's a communication.
You know, I'm thinking about kayaking. Maybe like, you know, if you're in the like water that's not that deep, as a man, you should try to like, you know, like make the thing shake a little bit to see how the lady react. If she react like, you know, be like, man, what are you doing? Like, you know, she be ready. You be like, man, that's not a good sign. You know what I'm saying? But if she like, okay, you know, we almost went there, but I'm glad you put us back on the right path. Oh man, that's a keeper. You know what I'm saying? She trusts your leadership, even in times of like, you know,
Adversity and shakiness.
Yeah.
No, but I don't encourage that. You do it on purpose. It's gonna happen though. If you're kayaking, it's gonna happen where there's like gonna be stumbling, and of course you're gonna see the person's reaction. Mm-hmm. Again, this helps you see work as a team to see how you would work as a team. Of course, and then I encourage doing activities that involves group activities.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Group activities allows you to be around other people and see how your potential, the person you're courting, interact with others.
Yeah.
You know, the man, if you want to see each other, go to her, visit her at her house.
Yeah.
Don't always show up expected. Sometimes show up unexpected. You know, because you wanna see how she treat her parents, how she treat her dads, her brothers. Young lady, you also want to see how he treat his mother, his sister, how he treat elderly, how she treat elderly. You know, because all that is showing you able to see if is that person kind.
Yeah.
What kind of person that person is. So there's a lot of things that you can do together. I just named a few activities that I myself have done before that, you know, that just to give some kind of pointers that I know can help someone, you know, who's two people who's in a courtship.
Yeah.
So again, it's just to name a few. So again, there's a lot more activities that you can do, a lot of things that you can do together to get to know one another. Obviously, I encourage having lots of conversation. You can go to the park and have a picnic. You know, it gives you a lot of time to have conversations, to talk and discuss.
Ride a bike together downtown.
Ride bike together. Yeah. There's a lot of things that you can do and do fun stuff together. Remember, love is fun.
That's true.
If you're not having a good time, most likely love may not be happening. So stepping into love, getting to know, you want to make sure you have a good time with that person. You can have fun together. So do a lot of fun activities, do a lot of things that, you know, that you can have fun without breaking God's command.
That's it. So today, like, we really cover like an aspect of courtship, the do's and don'ts.
The do's and don'ts.
Next time, I think we're probably gonna get deeper into different stuff about
courtship.
courtship.
The next time we're gonna finish. We're gonna talk a little bit more about courtship, but then we'll move to the next step, which is step number 6.
All right. So remember, if you're courting, the goal is for marriage.
Yes.
Right, and the goal is to please the Lord.
Yes.
So that has to be utmost in our mind. So we want to make sure whatever we are doing in that courtship is something that is pleasing the Lord. Because like you keep quoting, it says in the fullness of God, in his presence, there is joy. Fullness of joy. Yeah. All right. Any other last thoughts you want to share?
Not really. I mean, I think we've covered a good amount of things. Just remember that in the courtship, you are seeking to know if it's God's will for the two of you to unite your interests in marriage. Remember, it's not a rigid thing to where we're meeting up to just study the word or go over prophecy. We are doing actually day-to-day things, and we are learning about each other, and we are being wooed, and we are wooing one another. Man,
hearing about this courtship thing, I think even in marriage we should continue with some of the courtship thing, right?
Does continue in marriage.
All right.
If the courtship stop before marriage, then you will have problem in the marriage. We'll talk more about that in later videos.
We'll talk more about it. Once again, this is Think About It. We hope you enjoy this conversation. Share with your friends, share with the family, and may God lead us at every step of from singleness till maybe I do. And we are out.